look, Conor at this moment in time for me, he's a big underdog in the fight.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd do his best and he'll fight his best, but I mean, you know, you've got to make Garcia a massive favourite.
Yeah, well, it's the known against the unknown, isn't it? Conor's not boxed at that level and just
yeah, but I mean, you know, Conor's not boxed at a high level.
Yeah,
yet.
that's what I'm saying.
You know,
yeah.
He's fought Chris Eubanks Jr., 36 years old, whatever he is.
Yeah.
He's never done it at all.
Yeah.
At the top.
Yeah, sure.
As the countdown to the Garcia-Benn showdown begins, Frank Warren has fired a clear warning, naming Benn the clear underdog. He also questioned whether Benn can safely make the 147 lb limit and still be fight ready.
Look, he's got people around him, and if he can't make that weight, he shouldn't be fighting.
Yeah.
So the people around him are there to look after him.
Yeah.
To ensure that he's okay. If they feel that it's right, then they're with him every day. So they should know. The border control, I'm sure, would do their check weights.
How does it work though? Like with the sanctioning bodies, when Conor Benn was at 147, was made mandatory challenge, but hadn't boxed there for like 3 or 4 years. He hadn't boxed at that weight.
I don't know. I don't know how that came about, but
for Benn, the road back to 147 was never going to be simple, and Eddie Hearn made sure to spell out exactly why. Hearn didn't hold back on his doubts about Benn's readiness at the poundage, pointing out it's been over 2 years since he last made that limit.
I think Conor's always going to be competitive. You know, he trains really hard. He's got a lot of heart. I don't like him at 147 pounds now because that was one of the problems in going to 160 to fight Eubank. To come back to 140, it's a really tough thing to do. And I think when he fought Prograis, was it 151 or 150? He just didn't look the same. He looked like he was lacking power, didn't look that strong. And Ryan Garcia is a guy who's kind of built his way up to 147.
Turning to the man across the ring, Hearn described Garcia as a battle-tested talent, physically imposing, precise, and someone who steadily climbed his way into the welterweight class. Put those pieces together, and Benn's path to victory starts looking a lot narrower.
Fit and good at the weight at 147, and he's a world-class fighter who punches very, very hard and is very sharp. So Conor's always going to be in the fight because he's got a lot of heart, but I don't see him winning that fight at 147. I think his better weight will be up towards 154. I don't think middleweight's his weight either, but I think he'll find it really tough to make that weight, and I don't think he'll feel physically where he needs to be. But listen, even with everything that's gone on, he's a British fighter.
But Terence Crawford threw his own take into the mix, and it leaned in a direction few expected. Breaking the matchup down, Crawford acknowledged Garcia's experience edge, but pointed to Benn's physical advantages, his size and raw power, as factors that make this one genuinely hard to call.
How do you think that fight goes?
I think that's a good fight. I think, of course, Ryan got the experience, but I think Conor got the size and the power, and I think that it's going to be an interesting fight moving forward.
Okay. Do you have a pick?
When it came time to commit, Crawford didn't hedge. He went with Benn to pull off the upset, saying flatly that's the pick he's making. This isn't just a vote of confidence. It's a signal that the odds don't tell the whole story.
I'm going to go with Conor.
Really?
I'm going to go with Conor.
For real?
I think you're going to upset him.
Wow. Yeah. Not a lot of people picking Conor.
I'm going to pick him just because.
Just
I'm going to go out there.
All right.
And pick him.
Wow. Okay.
Meanwhile, Oscar De La Hoya wasn't swayed by Crawford's suggestion that Benn might come out on top. He acknowledged the opinion but stood firm in his own red, insisting that certain traits in Garcia tipped the scales, namely his speed and explosiveness, which Oscar sees as the factors most likely to decide the outcome.
That he thinks Conor Benn's gonna win.
Yeah, he has his opinion. I mean, maybe he sees something that we don't, but being a fighter myself, I feel that Ryan Garcia has a lot of speed. Obviously, he has the power. He's more, man, I haven't heard Ryan Garcia speak this way. He's more motivated than ever. So it's gonna be quite interesting to see.
Backing that up further, Oscar pointed to Garcia's motivation, calling it higher than he's ever seen. With genuine personal animosity fueling both men, he believes it all sets the stage for a matchup that's as intense as it is anticipated.
Animosity, which makes it exciting. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to being there as Ryan Garcia's promoter and this event September 12th.
Man, you on the stage.
He praised the way Ben carries himself both in and out of the ring, highlighting his composure and intelligence as a fighter. Oscar didn't hold back on the respect, pointing specifically to Ben's smarts and the professionalism he's shown across his career as qualities that stand out to him, but still wants to see his fighter victorious on fight night.
I love Conor Benn. I love the way he fought against, was it Eubanks?
Yeah, Eubanks.
I love the way he carries himself. He's a smart guy. But obviously I'm gonna go with my guy Ryan Garcia to go for the win.
Duke McKenzie didn't waste time raising the alarm on Ben's weight situation. He pointed out that Ben hasn't made 147 lbs in years, warning that the physical strain of it could drain him of his sharpest form before he even steps through the ropes. Even assuming Ben shows up at his peak, McKenzie questioned whether he's enough against a fighter like Garcia.
Yeah, I don't know how he beats Ryan Garcia. I mean, listen, there's the lucky punch, of course there is, but Conor has not boxed at 147 for 4 years. And when you're trying to make weight and you have to drag to make weight, takes away your A game. Even his A game, I'm not so sure would beat Ryan Garcia, because Garcia is a much improved champion now. Since getting that belt wrapped around his waist, I think he's a much improved champion. He's mixed at a higher level. All right, he hasn't won all of his fights, Garcia, but he's beaten some quality fighters that are much better than Conor Benn.
From there, he dug into whether Ben's power would even translate at the lighter limit. The consensus leaned skeptical. Even with rehydration, Garcia was described as no small frame himself, a genuinely big welterweight who'll likely hold a physical edge once both men are in the ring together.
Garcia, it will take more than just, it's going to take more than just boxing skill, and it's going to take more than just a big punch. I don't think Conor Benn's going to be physically strong enough, because I think he'd be weight drained. I'm not making excuses for him, you understand, but I think he'd be weight drained before the fight, because I think they don't have a weight stipulation where they can put on as much as they want after the weigh-in. Even if you're eating all night long. Yeah, even if you're eating all night long, you still only so much weight you can put on. Let's just say he puts on a stone overnight and he goes into the fight at 154.
Simon Jordan then raised a different angle, floating the idea that Ben already has a built-in excuse lined up if things go wrong: the weight cut itself. The group agreed Ben remains a thrilling and hard-hitting fighter, but making the drop back down stands as the real obstacle between him and toppling a champion of Garcia's caliber.
The other really annoying thing that I keep hearing, and I hear a lot, is from a lot of ex-fighters as well. It's like journalists as well, as Conor Benn don't deserve to fight for the WBC title because he ain't beat anyone of note in the welterweight division. But he went and beat the #1 ranked middleweight in the world. And at that time, Chris Eubank was the #1 ranked middleweight in the world. And
Conor Benn's trainer, Tony Sims, weighed in and turned to the doubters, questioning Ben's resume, firing back with a reminder of his standout showing against Chris Eubank Jr. He stressed just how demanding it is to climb weight classes and still hold your own against elite-level opposition, insisting the critics are overlooking exactly what that accomplishment took.
To your list of fighters, but for Conor, is this the fight now? Is this, I goes without saying, the most important fight of his career, even coming off the last 2 fights against Chris Eubank Jr.?
yeah, of course. I mean, WBC title, you know, it's the same belt that his dad won and defended 12 times, and it's a belt that Conor's always spoke about, and he's always wanted to win, and you know, it's here now, and
He explained that the WBC title carries deep personal weight for Ben. It's the very same belt his father, Nigel Benn, once held and defended a dozen times over. For Conor, Sims framed this bout as a defining chance to chase down a legacy that's always run in the family. Winning it would make the moment even more meaningful.
Into this fight,
it's Conor Benn's toughest fight. There's no doubt about that. It's his toughest fight. But I think it'll be Ryan Garcia's toughest fight as well. So, you know, he's not going to leave no stone unturned, and you know, he's going to go in there and give it everything he's got, and you know, he's got that mentality to do that. And you know, watching him train and get ready for this fight, and we've still got quite a long way to go yet, and
Looking ahead to fight night, Sims admitted this is the toughest test of Benn's career so far, but his confidence hasn't wavered. He pointed to the thoroughness of camp, saying nothing's been left to chance, and that Benn is fully prepared to show the world what he can do against Garcia. Sims believes Benn has prepared for every possible challenge.
I mean, I got a job to do. I don't want to take people's money for free. And when I'm doing my, research and I'm watching Ryan, I'm like, yo, I can't be a prisoner of the moment like a lot of these people when I watch you just fight Mario and it was a good performance, but he is not like that at all. So just because you got a belt, because you be the dude that just stood there and just took punches and punched back, I can't praise you for that.
And then a fight before that, he had a dud.
And the fight before that, you didn't even want to punch Rolly. And Rolly is not.
Would you like to look at the camera and ask Ryan to forgive you or no?
Oh, we're not at that point. Look, Ryan, you my guy, but I gotta do my job. Listen, you go out there and you handle Conor Benn, then we might can start talking, okay.
And you give him some flowers,
Adding to that, Shady McCoy made clear that his read on Ryan Garcia has nothing to do with personal feelings. McCoy wasn't ready to praise Ryan because he believes Barrios isn't an elite-level opponent, and he refuses to let it slide when sizing up where a fighter truly stands. His parting shot left little room for interpretation. To come talk to him once Garcia actually beat Benn.
You surprised me.
The big thing what everyone forgets here is, and if both of these fighters are at their best, then Ryan Garcia is a clear favourite.
Yeah.
But there's another side to that coin. You flip that coin up.
You don't know what side you're getting with Ryan. He's either shit or he's
if the Ryan Garcia that got in with Rolly Romero gets in, Conor Benn could knock him out.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone thinks. Conor Benn has a he has a bit more than a puncher's chance because there's every bit that Conor is really fit. And Conor can go at a pace in round 1 and maintain it right through to round 12.
Yeah. Tony Bello then shifted into the mental side of the fight, and that's where things got interesting. They broke down Garcia's unpredictability against the discipline Benn brings into camp, agreeing that Garcia remains the clear favorite on pure ability, but his inconsistency could crack the door open for Benn if he's not locked in.
You take your eye
and you can't switch that period. And you can't, once the fight starts, you can't change.
No.
Because boxing's the only sport in the world where it's like when Joshua goes in with Andy Ruiz. Everyone says to me, well, he's much better. Why didn't he? You know, when he gets knocked down, he can't change that because in his mind he's just thinking, this fella looks like he's fucking turned up for that. It looks like Johnny Vegas on the stage. He's asking him for fucking selfies. He's asking him for selfies on the stage, and I don't care in which way you want to dress up. Joshua's obviously sitting there thinking to himself, this fella's just coming for a few quid.
Yeah.
And you go to bed at night and you're going, he doesn't really believe he can win.
Tony Bello zeroed in on a specific risk, Garcia's habit of underestimating opponents, comparing his pre-fight demeanor to Johnny Vegas working a room. The group stressed that once the bell rings, that kind of mindset is hard to shake off if things start going sideways against a puncher, as dangerous as Benn.
Like, you're not getting to Conor Benn mentally. And I just think Ryan Garcia can be got to mentally, but ultimately...
He is a little bit more fragile. I'm going to say the word, fragile.
He bites, doesn't he?
Mentally, he bites, and he's a bit thing in his own head. He's not confident in himself, I don't think. He needs to...
See some of the stuff he does on social media, some of the clips he does in videos and that, and I just think, you're not all there, but as fighters, we're not all there at the best of times. Yeah. But ultimately,
but
I just think...
that sort of, almost like an influencer kind of stuff.
But he grew up in that world, didn't he?
Grew up like that, so...
Wrapping up the discussion, Josh Taylor and Tony weighed the psychological makeup of both fighters, tagging Benn as close to bulletproof mentally, while painting Garcia as the more fragile of the two. Their final read had Garcia winning on raw skill, but with his focus and composure standing as the real question marks heading into fight night.
Ryan said this is not going the distance. Do you believe him?
I believe it's not going the distance. I think somebody's going to get knocked out. I think both their styles, when you match them up, like I told you early on, you got Benn, who can punch, right? And anybody that can punch always tends to put Ryan on the defense, right? We haven't seen that scary shell. Remember, Barrios couldn't punch like that, when he turns his back like this and going that scary
Luke
shell.
Campbell dropped him too.
Luke Campbell dropped him. But I feel like
Luke Campbell, Olympic gold medalist, by the way.
Yes.
I feel like Benn has a chance because he has a right hand.
Timothy Bradley sees reasons why Benn could challenge that confidence once the action begins. He gives Benn a genuine chance, particularly because of the sustained intensity and mental strength he brings into difficult fights. Those qualities could allow Benn to maintain pressure, although Bradley identifies one major technical obstacle he must find a way to neutralize.
He's feeling good about the pressure. He's not worried about that, like you said, but at the same time, he sees a weakness in Garcia to where he's saying, hey, you quit. I know you have it in you. Right. I can make you quit, right? I have that determination,
I've seen it before.
that will to win. He's not as talented. as
He
Ryan
has some
Garcia.
talent, but not as
He's
much as
not
Ryan Garcia.
talented. He's not as explosive either, right? And I don't think he hit as hard as a Ryan Garcia, but that determination and that will, and if he can close that gap on him, bro, he trust me, man, he can do some damage.
That's such a good point.
From there, the conversation turned to the other side. Ben's experience on big stages and his knack for spotting cracks in Garcia's game were framed as real edges. The group agreed this feels far tighter than a typical 3-1 underdog storyline, with Ben carrying more genuine leverage than the odds suggest.
He's brutally honest with himself, so he's looked at himself in the mirror. He's acknowledged the thing inside everyone that has a breaking point, like, okay, I've had enough. Yep. How am I going to deal with that point? How am I going to push past it? And there was something about the way Conor was talking where versus the way Ryan was talking, where Ryan was coming off as a guy who hadn't confronted his own demons in that way, the way Conor has. Like, Conor's like, this is what I'm about, and I've shown it. You haven't shown it. And Ryan's going to have to answer that for himself before this fight, because there's a good chance Conor can put him into that kind of fight.
Max Kellerman is less convinced that the matchup will unfold that comfortably for Garcia. He initially saw Garcia's style creating serious problems whenever Ben attempted to close the distance. However, watching the mentality both fighters displayed around each other altered his outlook. That interaction left Kellerman more confident that Ben could make the contest considerably more competitive.
And why? Honestly, that's up in the air, man. I would like to see Conor Benn actually put on a good showing and good fight for Ryan, and actually give him some challenges there. You know, obviously Conor Benn didn't look as exciting and as great against an experienced fighter like Regis Prograis. You know, definitely gave him something to fight and earn for in that fight. But and then you see Ryan, he swept the floor on Barrios. So if we see the same Ryan that we saw in Barrios, I think he's unbeatable right now.
Even so, Teofimo Lopez warns against assuming Garcia's advantages make the outcome straightforward. He points to the determination driving Ben throughout preparation and sees a fighter capable of raising his level after difficult performances. That resilience makes Ben dangerous, regardless of what Garcia brings. Lopez sees enough upside for Ben to potentially change the expected outcome.
Is Conor Benn on that level? Because I see guys like Shakur and Ryan, they seem like you're just not on this level, bro. You're tough, you got heart and all that, but you're not on the level of us and Tio and Devin and those guys. Do you see him? Is he really on that level?
Technically, like on a technicality part, yeah, possibly. Yeah, he's not as like technically sounded like the rest of us, but the man has heart, the man has grit, and all you need in boxing is that really to overcome those things.
Teofimo Lopez ultimately returns the debate to the version of Garcia that actually enters the ring. He expects Ben to provide resistance, but sees Garcia's form as the key variable. Garcia has already shown Lopez the kind of sharpness capable of creating separation from the opposition. If that version appears again, Lopez sees the balance shifting heavily toward him.
The only thing I would critique a little bit is the way that they're training for the Ryan Garcia fight. It's too enclosed. It's too enclosed.
You mean in terms of distance, the range he's throwing his punches at, and his head kind of forward?
It's too, that's all that's all for like food for Ryan to capitalize and punch on. So, and Ryan would definitely try to hit those tempo shots. But I'm rooting for Conor Benn, man, and you know.
You're rooting for him?
Yeah, I'm rooting
over Ryan?
Over Ryan, yeah.
Antonio Tarver chimed in with his own breakdown, framing this squarely as a toss-up fight. He pointed out that both men are carrying a heavy dose of emotion into this one, and argued that the fighter who manages to rein that in and commit fully to a disciplined training camp will ultimately hold the edge once the two finally step into the ring together.
Garcia is going to face Conor Benn. He's a great welterweight right now. How do you see that fight playing out?
That's a pick'em fight too. Like I said, both of those guys are showing a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
And that type of emotions, this early, it don't make sense. So, you know, I think whoever reels that in can get to training camp and really get focused. I think it gives them a heads up in that fight. But whoever comes ready to fight and have really had a great training camp gonna win.
On the physical side, Tarver leaned toward Garcia as his favorite, largely because of his raw punching power. He noted Garcia doesn't always tap into his full speed advantage, but that power alone keeps him a constant threat. Tarver also flagged Ben's history of getting busted up in previous fights, a vulnerability he believes keeps the outcome anything but settled.
Okay, but Ryan Garcia, they have him as the favorite. Do you think that's correct?
Yeah, I mean, power. You gotta always favor a guy with speed and power.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times he don't use his speed. but he definitely uses power. He's a puncher. So, and we've seen Ben get busted up a little bit. So, pick 'em fight.
With voices from every corner of boxing weighing in, this fight has split the sport right down the middle. So where do you land in all this? Are you backing Garcia's speed and experience, or riding with Ben's power and heart to pull off the upset? Drop your prediction in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you catch every breakdown as fight night gets closer.